This is the Golden Rule reporting for the Bull City Bulletin. It is May 29th, and we have the distinct privilege of hosting a very distinguished guest. His name is Randall Stroud, and if you don't know Randy, he is, he's hard to define, but he's been a congressional candidate in the 5th District of Tennessee. He's a writer, a martial artist, a musician, an author, a researcher, an activist, a philosopher, and he runs the website sovereigntactics.org. And Randy, I appreciate you giving us the time to talk today. I want to give you some background on Bull City Bulletin. Bull City Bulletin is a new news website that me and a fellow activist developed, and it is evolving. It's blossoming, but the idea behind it is to kind of, after so many years watching the media, we've just kind of come to the conclusion that the people have to become the reporters, and they just really need to report what's going on in their own experience. And so we solicit contributions from just individuals in the area who want to, say something about the state of affairs out there, whatever that may be, local or national or even global. And I found you actually through a YouTube suggestion. They have algorithms to recommend certain videos based on your search history, and I guess I was looking at like TSA refusals and things of that nature. And so I have a lot of background as far as like reading your writings and listening to your videos. So I don't want to try and define you, but I was hoping that you could just kind of introduce yourself. If you had just a couple minutes or a few minutes to summarize your site and basically what you're about, what sovereigntactics.org is about, to someone who might be tuning in to a website like ours, what would you say?
Well, I really do appreciate your description of me. Was actually very accurate, even though it was generalized. But if I was just going to introduce myself and the website, I would say that I am an advocate of voluntary interaction, which means that I don't believe that any good or service should be monopolized, and it should not be offered on terms of duress or coercion. Like, we are the only ones that are allowed to sell this product or service, and if you do not purchase or participate in this product or service, then we will fine you, we will imprison you, so on, etc. And that's basically what most government services are, is they are monopolized by racketeering methods, and they do not allow anyone else in the marketplace to compete. Therefore, the quality goes down, and this also applies to the legal system. There's virtually no private means to settle disputes besides the courts, and the government themselves, who run pretty much everything else, they get to set the rules for that too. And furthermore, while we're in high school and we're getting our state-certified high school diplomas, they teach us about world history, or at least their version of it. They teach us mathematics, reading, writing, but then whenever it comes to the legal system, the system that allows them to extort us and fine us and imprison us, they don't teach us anything that's really that useful. They mention the judicial system, they mention the Fifth Amendment, and then that's pretty much your education on the legal system. And what sovereigntactics.org tries to do is it tries to promote the idea of anarcho-capitalism, free market, principles and voluntary interactions, and it also gives readers the basic tools that they need to handle themselves in a court situation. Now, if you have a murder case, or if you have, a corporate merger that you're trying to do, or some multi-billion dollar lawsuit case, then perhaps, maybe the website isn't quite up, to battle those things, but it will at least give you basic concepts and basic understandings that will allow you to maneuver confidently. You know, most people, if they get a traffic ticket, you know, their first instinct is either to pay it or I'm going to go to court and I'm going to argue on why I wasn't speeding. But that's not the right approach because their procedures, they don't care what your statements are. They care about the procedure. And my website basically offers that. It gives people, like I said, the basic tools and motions and documents that they need to handle themselves in that situation with a certain degree of confidence. And most people do not trust public defenders because they're a party to the court case. They're being paid by the courts, so people don't really trust them. And then lawyers are often too expensive, so people are kind of left, well, I don't really know how to defend myself. I don't really know where to get started. And my website offers those services to give people those foundational steps and makes it easy for them, and it kind of leads them down a path. I am not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice, but I kind of do open that door for people, and I kind of pave those first few steps for them that allow them to make that journey into this type of thinking if they so choose.
Right, and you know, I was really drawn to the style of your site because, you know, a lot of people are looking for someone else to do it for them, a template, so to speak, where they can just kind of liberate themselves. And you always make it clear in your writings and in your videos that, you know, you can't solve the problem for anyone. Everybody has to solve it for themselves, which really attracted me and kind of made me question my own thinking about a lot of things. And it also validated a lot of thinking, you know, thoughts that I had about different experiences that I was encountering, that I think you also, you know, you're having a lot of similar experiences too. So it's both a blog, seems to be a blog that takes people on your journey, as well as kind of speaking to everyone about how they can make their journey maybe a little bit more like yours, if they believe, you know, in what we're talking about, which is, you know, the basics of sovereignty and how to exist in today's system. So I would like to ask you, you know, I went through your about the author, and you're a young guy. A lot of people would probably wonder how you got to this point. And you start off your about the author saying, you know, as a young boy, you always ask the question, why? And that kind of led you on a path that made some certain things happen. You know, people who do ask questions, you know, they always come up against a lot of resistance from the system. Could you tell us about your awakening? I mean, I saw in there you did some campaigning or something for Ron Paul, and that, you know, that experience helped you wake up to what was going on. Could you just give us an overview of like how you got from point A to point B being sovereigntactics.org?
Well, ever since I was a child, I mean, I was kind of just born with this, and that's not an excuse to say that, oh, if you're not born with this type of thinking that you can't develop it, because that's not true. My brother has a very opposite mentality. You know, he was always very loyal to the state and loyal to the government, and he's always been more of a, you know, kind of, you know, follower. And over time, you know, he started to open up. But me, I've always just, you know, naturally kind of, you know, gone against the flow. You know, whenever I was a kid, I would wear jackets, and you know, in the summertime, and people would laugh at me like, "Hey, I like jackets. You know, I don't care how hot it is. It's my style." You know, and even whenever I was a little kid, I used to look at homeless people, and I would tell my mom, "I want to be just like them when I grow up." And of course, it would freak her out, and she would say, "Why would you say such a thing?" I'm like, "Well, they don't have to go to school or work. They do whatever they want." You know, so in a way, I kind of admired homeless people because, you know, it was like, hey, you know, they may not be the most productive, or, you know, they you know, may not have everything, but hey, they haven't committed suicide. They're still living, and they don't care what anyone has to say about it. You know, so I kind of admired the homeless and their tenacity to just keep living. But as far as politics go, and just, you know, philosophy and, you know, seeing the system for what it is, it probably started, I guess, for like most people, not 9/11. Before 9/11 happened, I never really gave much thought to to taxation or wars or the police. It was just like the air. It was just something that was always there. I never really gave it any second thought. But after 9/11 happened, during that time, the internet, was really blowing up and becoming, mainstream and widely available. And it's thanks to the internet that people are waking up, because now we have an unlimited, source of information. Now we can get our news information from not one source, not two sources, but, three sources, five sources, a million sources. We have all this crossover that gives us different points of views. So after 9/11 happened, a lot of people were, just started paying attention, like, oh my God, the homeland has been attacked. Maybe we should start paying attention to, politics a little bit more. So, I started logging onto the internet, I was like, wow, who attacked us? What happened? And of course, with, millions of people on the internet, you have all these, wannabe investigators, and then people started, investigating this, and people started to make, legitimate, feedback on what happened. Said, hey, things aren't adding up. And then I started to get interested, and I started looking into, the effects around 9/11. And even if 9/11 wasn't an inside job, it kind of inadvertently made me question other things. Like, well, if 9/11 has some kind of iffy things about it that kind of seem fishy, what else has the government been doing?
Right.
So after 9/11 happened, I started to, slowly look into other things, but it wasn't really until I think that the Patriot Act hit that I really was like, wow, something is not right. Like, the government now does not need a search warrant. They're listening to all of our phone calls. They can indefinitely lock us up. I was like, wow, this is getting scary.
Right.
But then when Ron Paul, whenever he hit the political scene, that's when a lot of people got fired up, including myself, because finally we had this candidate standing on stage. He's talking about the military-industrial complex. He's talking about the CIA and the Federal Reserve, all this stuff that I've been, studying, for years. And I was like, oh my God, there may be a chance to legitimately go through the system and change some things. But during that process, I saw a lot of corruption. A lot of counties were losing votes. Ron Paul's microphone would get cut off.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of trickery going on. And after that election was over, people was really like, okay, we can't trust politicians to fix things. And even if there was a good politician like Ron Paul, I liked him a lot, the good guys can't really get in and really do effective change. So it's up to us to do something about it. And around that same time, I had went to the emissions place to get my car tested, and my car was running fine. And the guy at the emissions office said, well, your sensor is bad on your car, and it's going to cost about $2,000 to replace it. I said, well, my car is running fine, and I already have this damn sticker on my license plate. Why do I need to come here every year and pay $100, to you guys just for a brand new sticker? I was like, it's just a damn sticker.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, where does all this money go, and why can't these services be ran more efficiently? So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get my car registered. Screw it. And eventually, I got pulled over, and things started to happen. I started to go to court. I started to look at things logically, and I was like, maybe I'll make a couple of videos or write about my experience, just for my own sake, just to report it for myself. I never expected people to, look onto this and have such an interest, and I got this huge outpour from people saying, what have you learned, or this or that. People were very interested, so I said, maybe I can start, some revolutionary ideas by sharing my journey and encourage others, to do the same. And that's kind of how I got where I am today in a nutshell, if I could just sum it up.
Yeah, it mirrors